how do you find yourself going through player feedback? Because I can speak from my perspective of doing YouTube stuff.
Mhm.
There are people who are going to tell you things that directly conflict with what other people tell you, where you're like, okay, you both cannot be right because you are saying opposite things.
Mm. So I think something that a lot of us designers learned while we were studying is that all feedback is not weighted equally,
Mhm.
and at times you need to see a bunch of feedback and then actually just pick out what's useful out of it. So somebody might go, "Oh, the game's bad," and like, cool, that's your opinion. That's not necessarily useful feedback. Or I really love this feature about this thing, and they go into minute detail about oh, maybe you tweak this feature to be a little more like this. That's good feedback. That's something you maybe write down and then reflect on later once you've had other people sort of give similar feedback. Yeah, it's definitely a thing you learn as a developer and I assume as a content creator as well, is that
Mhm.
all feedback is not necessarily made equal,
Yeah.
and you've got to sift through it all, like yeah, to get the best stuff out of it.
Mhm.
But in terms of feedback as well, something that we actually have working with us is our publisher. They have external feedback agencies where they can sort of give out the game to people that it's their job to give feedback on game features and whatnot. So we've had a few rounds of that so far, and the things that come out of that are really, really useful because they're employed people that it's their job doing that sort of stuff. But a lot of it that we're actually getting back is stuff we're already working on, which again just reaffirms a lot of the time that we're internally moving in the right direction.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, what was the feedback like from Avcon? Like, I I did see there was some people in there that were getting relatively high rounds that experience with
Mhm.
these kinds of games, but I assume you also would have had people who it was their first time trying a game like this, who didn't
Mhm.
really know what to expect. And those people are the interesting ones because they're going to interact with it in a way that might be unexpected. If you've played a game like Zombies, you know, okay, I kill these, I have this money in the corner, I can go buy a weapon on the wall here, I can unlock a door like this. But what about those people who just didn't know what they were getting into?
So I think with people, I guess you could consider them your secondary audience, if you
Mm.
will. Once they sort of sit down and play for a few seconds, they get attacked by a few demons, and they're like, "Oh, my screen's going red. I'm probably getting damaged." They start to realize and learn pretty quickly from what we found that you need to shoot demons, and then just the way that the sort of user interface is displayed, you've got that counter on the side of the screen with bright yellow numbers going up. Um, yeah, for people that haven't played before, it can be a few rounds worth of learning, and we sort of account for that in the game's balance. Gradually increasing the sort of difficulty from waves 1 to sort of 3 are here's your time to really just mess around and try learn the mechanics with very slow moving demons.
Mhm.
But yeah, it sort of really ramps up at round 4. And then round 5, you have your first boss round, which, as we sort of coined internally in the team, separates the boys from the men. So the Chaos Demon tends to be the thing that really kills people the first time round. But
I
one
kept
thing we
standing in
actually,
that really thin alleyway.
yeah,
I don't know why I
yeah,
was there. I could be anywhere else besides there.
one thing we really noticed from Avcon was that if people did die at the Chaos Demon, they were like, "Can I play again
Mhm.
and try to be better?" So it's sort of that game that inspires you to sort of, "Oh, I died, great, cool,
Mhm.
but I want to try again. I want to beat that enemy, or I want to get to that next round and see that next
Mhm.
area, for example." But absolutely, as you're sort of saying, of like new player experience, a tutorial can be super important in a game
Mhm.
like this. I think as a new IP, especially, it's something that we'll absolutely look into later in development. Naturally, you do that towards the end
Right, right.
of your cycle. But yeah, it's the new player experience is really really vital, I think.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's I with a game like this, it's not you don't really need that much of a tutorial because the core, as I said, the core loop is fairly simple. But at least, I guess introducing players to how the like purchasing system works. It can be,
Mhm.
if you haven't played a game like this, it might be kind of counterintuitive that you get a weapon from the wall. Like
Yeah.
why are there weapons on the wall? Like that doesn't like okay, that's
Mm.
weird. Or like
Yeah.
introduce
No.
or in like
Yeah.
work how the revive works. Because I got it straight
Yes.
away because there's like some other games that have done similar things, but
Mhm.
you die and then it's like why is everything blue? Like I thought it was over. Like what do I
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
now?
So I think with the revival mechanics as they sort of are in the game right now, that was a bit of a cop out on our end to have a full revival system, given that the game's single player.
Mhm,
We obviously will, with multiplayer coming in, have a proper down state and players sort of running back to each other and reviving each
mhm,
other. But being a single player experience to start with, we needed to come up with a way that people could keep playing,
mhm,
and having sort of like an undead mode where you run back to your body seems the most appropriate for the type of game we have right now.
mhm.
That whole mechanic, though, is becoming something map specific in one of the maps we're working on now, though. So it's not going away, but we are reincorporating it in a different way.
Okay, okay.